Hi, everyone. It's Wednesday night. Welcome to Late Night Snack at Voice of Our Own. I'm Allison Kinnear. Thank you so much for joining me. So, Late Night Snack, for those of you who don't know, is just a little snack, a little taste of life, of self-care, of parenting. And this month we've been talking about boundaries. And so I wanted to continue talking about boundaries and what that means and how that shows up in real life situations, and how fortuitous that my mom happened to call me this weekend and say, "Hey, I've got a question for you. How do you break up with an adult friend?" And I don't know if you've been in this situation before, but boundaries do the issue around boundaries comes up in friendships. And so tonight's thing, my mom's friend, I want to tell you the story that she told me over the weekend and tell you what she did because it was really amazing. So here's the situation. My mom has met this woman through her neighborhood online community, those little online communities for your neighborhood. And she met this woman. They went out to lunch, and my mom did not like this woman. I mean, she thought she was nice, she thought she was kind, she thought she was friendly, but was not into her. This other woman, though, really loved my mom. And in fact was like, "Oh, Bonnie, you're my first friend. Oh, I'm so glad you're here. Oh," and so this woman was really digging my mom, which, what's not to love? So, but it wasn't reciprocated. And my mom didn't want to hurt her feelings. She didn't want to make this woman feel bad. So she just kind of did the whole, "Oh, okay." And this woman would invite my mom to go out and spend more time together. And my mom used the things that we all typically use, right? Like little, maybe saying we're busy, maybe saying that we had other things come up. And then also sometimes just saying, "Okay, this time," saying to herself, "This time it's going to get better. I we're gonna see, this woman really is likes me, so there must be something there, and so like maybe this time it'll be better." But it wasn't. And this woman also wasn't really picking up on the clues, on the cues, those social cues that we give to each other to be like, the awkward laughs and whatnot. And so and it kept going and it kept going. And my mom kept trying and kept trying. And she kind of encountered this woman like Harry Potter encounters Dementors. Those people that just suck the life right out of you. That was kind of what was happening. And so she called me up saying, "Hey, I gave it my last final chance, and I'm all done. I don't want to spend time with this person anymore. She's lovely. She seems sweet, but it's just not clicking, and I'm tired of having to think about it, and I'm tired of having to make up excuses or things like that." She's like, "So what do you do?" And she knew already what to do, but just, it's always helpful to have someone to bounce it off of. So there's kind of, if you want things to change, there's kind of two ways to look at it, right? One is probably the most frequent way that people tend to do because it tends to be a little more comfortable for us, which is you can just start ghosting on people. So I told my mom that's an option. You can just stop replying to her text messages, not return her phone calls, and just hope that she will just gradually float away. However, one of the issues that comes up with that, especially for someone who's not picking up on social cues already, is that when you meet them, because you're in the same neighborhood, right? So when you cross paths, then you're put in the position, "Oh, hi, Lauren, you are catching it live. Yay, hello." And hello to Justine in Wales and my mom. I hope I do the story justice. And Jessica, welcome, welcome, welcome. So if you ghost on someone in a relationship, then it's easier on you, but it may not be clear to the other person about what's happening. And if they're already struggling with picking up on social cues and not letting the relationship just kind of dissolve naturally, then they probably will be confused by the silence and probably ask you about it. So then you're back at square one, either telling them the truth or lying, which is not comfortable. And my mom was like, that seems like the cowardly way. I'm not interested in that. What's the other option? So, so the other option, remember how last week we were talking about when you set a boundary, it's a brief but acute feeling of discomfort and then lots of relief afterwards. Or ghosting on someone is kind of like immediate relief in the beginning, but then like this long, low laying level of discomfort for the rest of the time. So the other option is that acute, really stark discomfort. There's no way to get out of the discomfort. So that's to have a clear and compassionate conversation that goes something along the lines of, wow, I just wanted to call you and let you know that I really appreciate how kind you are, how generous you are, and how you're trying to bring people of the community together. And I wanted to call because I feel like I've been giving you some mixed messages. I feel like, and I want to be really clear and so that it's not confusing. And I just wanted to say that I think I'm done with this part of our relationship, and it's just not a good fit for me, and I'm trying to prioritize my social time. And so I just wanted to let you know that I don't want us necessarily to be hanging out again. You know, of course, I will always delight to see you, but it's just not really working for me anymore. And I wish you well. I wish you all the best, but I wanted to tell you that so in case I wasn't returning your texts or phone calls, you would know why. Ouch, right? Like that's an uncomfortable thing to say. And let me make the case for it. Number one, it's really clear. It lets the person know what you appreciate about them. You are able to take your responsibility to say, I'm sorry if I sent you mixed messages. It also makes it really clear that you no longer want to continue in the relationship and explains why. So if you don't respond to those text messages and phone calls, why you're not. And it puts you both on the same page. And the thing that I think people who are confused around social cues, by spending time with them and then not spending time with them, and then spending time with them and then not spending time with them, it ends up doing this inconsistent reinforcement. And as we know, the best way to encourage certain behaviors is inconsistent reinforcement. And this woman is probably has had people ghost on her, so she doesn't know what she's doing that's not working for other people. She may not even be aware that other people are uncomfortable around her. And so being really clear really helps both parties. It helps you rest assured. It helped my mom rest assured that she doesn't have to worry about this anymore. And it helps the other person go, okay, this is a no. And you can say something like, I just feel like the arc of our friendship, has come to a nice end. I'm really grateful for this. And now it's time to move on. And we don't have these conversations enough, right? Like these conversations don't really happen. So, my mom and I went back and forth and we talked about the different options, and she, it was like, how do you even have this conversation? Because it is so far outside our norm. And if you're really wanting to please other people or to be nice to other people, then it can really rub against that. And there's a few things. One is that I think about is in any of these difficult conversations, all we need is 20 seconds of insane courage. And that came to me during one of my MOPS groups. So hello to Lauren. on that one. 20 seconds of insane courage. And I love this because it doesn't mean you have to be insanely courageous for 30 minutes. It just means you need to be courageous enough to get on the phone and to have that first conversation. And yes, you have to do it on the phone. Texting, not really helpful. Email, not really helpful. So much miscommunication happens in those situations. So 20 seconds of insane courage. And I think also envisioning the gold that's on the other side of this difficult conversation, envisioning the relief. You know, I always think about like Andy Dufresne in Shawshank Redemption, just like, oh, like freedom, right? That lays on the other side of this difficult conversation. And so we talked about those things, and I got a text message from my mom about an hour later, and she said, "Oh my gosh, I did it." She said, "I called." She seemed a little surprised, but didn't push back, didn't burst into tears, didn't go crazy on her, which, by the way, if anyone pushes back, bursts into tears, or goes crazy on you, chances are what you're doing is a really good decision. You can just be like, whew, okay, yeah, this just reaffirms that this was the right choice to make. So there's that. And then, and she said, you know, I'm just like all tingly because the adrenaline just kind of kicks in. And once she kind of shook off that adrenaline, it was just relief. And that's the thing. It's just like, oh, thank goodness I don't have to worry about this anymore. And if she does contact, then you just say, sorry, we talked about this. I'm all done. Or you don't respond. But it lays the foundation. That's when you have to hold your boundary. It's one thing to set the boundary. It's another thing to hold it and to say, we talked about this already. And I told you I was done. And now we're done. Just to be able to hold that line. And I know this gets tricky depending on the friendship situation that people find themselves in. And yet it's just, it can be so important, and it can feel like freedom to you. And it can also feel like freedom for the other person. Instead of that other person being in that weird limbo place where they're like, I think we have something, but then maybe it seems like we don't. It makes it really clear for both people. So that's what I want to leave you with. Great story. And Mom, I know you're watching. I don't know if you have anything to say in the comments, but comment below if you do. Let me know if I did the story right. I want to just acknowledge some of the people that are here. We've got Justine from Wales again, my mom, Jessica, hello, Lauren, Kim from Portland, Kristen, hi. And Lauren says, I love clear communication. This is so good. Yes. We don't communicate clearly often. You know, we just kind of fumble our way through, which is the best we can do. But Andy, hi, Andy. And people don't do it enough, for sure. Absolutely. Hello. My internet's bad. Your internet's bad, Lauren. My internet's bad. It just cut out. And hi, Kayla. So yeah, these things are tricky. They're tricky to navigate. So if you need support in that, March is still happening. March Madness is still going on. Thank you, Andy. Great message. Thank you. So if you want to sign up for a free Catch My Breath consultation to talk over whatever situation that you're dealing with around communication, I'll leave a link below. Let's see, Kristen, being in that weird limbo place is the worst. I just love to know where we stand. Exactly. Doesn't that feel like relief? Like on the one hand, it's kind of like, oh, my feelings just got hurt because someone told me they don't want to spend time with me. But on the other hand, now I know, and everything is clear. Like clarity. People think that I grew up in a family that had the saying, if you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. So then a lot of stuff goes unspoken. But what people really want, they don't really care necessarily if it's a good message or a bad message. What people want is a clear message. When the message gets muddy, which it gets muddy because we're afraid of hurting other people's feelings or we're afraid of something else happening. When the message gets muddy, that's when all hell breaks loose. People want clarity, even if it's not like the best news. So that's been my experience. Jessica, I love how it's clear and courageous. Yes. And that's the thing I think about when we have these conversations, for it to be clear and courageous and also compassionate. You know, to be able to say, you don't want to lie to people. It's like, I genuinely appreciate this about you. This is what I've learned from you. To have that compassion in there, but also with that clarity. So yeah. So that's my late night snack for tonight. Two things. One, next week at Yoga Family, I will be doing a class on hitting, kicking, and biting, how to encourage self-regulation for young kids. So if you have a child who struggles with hitting, kicking, or biting, or you know someone who has a child who struggles with that, that will be happening at the Yoga Family in Maple Valley next Tuesday. And, Back to Her Roots project. Oh my goodness. We started it last week. This Friday is our next event. And oh my gosh, if you are looking for restoring yourself through nature as a mother and connecting with what motherhood means in like a very fulfilling way, Back to Her Roots project, it is the place to be. It's so beautiful and so amazing. We had a really great first session. So I'll leave the links for all of that below. Claire, oh my gosh, from Germany. Hello, welcome, welcome. And Justine, thank you. I'm so glad. I got to see you live. As well. All right. Well, I wish you a night of uninterrupted sleep tonight and always, and I hope to see you next week. Take care. Bye.